Hi, welcome to the Practice Sports Coaching's YouTube channel. The presentation you're about to watch actually took place live at one of our sessions. So can I use this opportunity to invite you to come and join us? We meet every Tuesday and the details are on the screen. If you like this kind of content, can I encourage you to please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell? That way you'll get notified whenever we release any new content. Let me not take too much of your time. Enjoy today's presentation, and I look forward to seeing you soon. We have an interesting subject called projection. And if I'm honest, I hesitated about doing a theme on this subject because I think I'm guilty. But to be honest with you, I think most of us are kind of guilty when it comes to this subject of projection. But one of the things I think I will emphasize as I go through on this topic is the limiting aspect projection can have in your ability to make the required progress, especially as a coach and especially in the area of sales. So I'm going to try my best to do this justice, but if you do find me smiling, it's probably because this resonates more with me than I'm actually letting on. So what exactly is projection? First of all, one could describe it as a self-defense mechanism. In other words, you project to protect your own self, your own securities, your own feelings, or the way you think. So it's a self-defense mechanism. And what you're basically doing is you're ascribing to others your own unacceptable feelings and qualities to them. In other words, in your mind, you project that this is how they are thinking, or this is the motives behind their actions, or this is how they feel in relation to a particular manner. And it's not that your assumption is based on any evidence. It's purely based on your own perception, your own feeling, your own attitude. You look at someone, and if they look at you funny, you go, well, that person doesn't like me. And I have to admit, growing up, I did a whole lot of projection. I made excuses or had certain assumptions on people purely because of how I felt. But the truth of the matter is, I would never actually admit I felt that way, because to me, it wasn't an acceptable feeling. It was actually an unacceptable feeling, but I projected it on others. And if somebody said something to me in a certain way, I would project that they didn't like me because I'm this or I'm that, or I would make all sorts of excuses. And I've got a few examples of what projection is really about. And what basically it is simply about attributing feelings and thoughts and meanings based on your own experiences. And the funny thing about projection is it literally affects everyone. If somebody says they've never projected in their life, I will go, But the thing about it is, when you are projecting, it's actually not that easy to recognize or become aware of. And that's why I thought it would be important to actually take a moment to cover a subject like this. And, the feelings we project on others are basically the feelings we ourselves would not even want to admit to. So let me give you some examples of projection before I go into it. A good one when it comes to projection is in relationships. You would often find, when one person is accusing another of either an extramarital or relationship or cheating or something like that. And sometimes it's either because they want to do it or they themselves has done it. So they automatically projected it onto their partners and are constantly accusing their partners of cheating. So they're projecting that on their partner. And even though their partner is, I was watching something yesterday and actually no, this morning, I was watching something this morning, and this lady was talking to a counselor, and she said that for over 10 years in the relationship, she had actually been the one cheating, but she was always accusing her partner of cheating. Every time he went out or every time he got a text message, she'd be accusing him. But she had so many extramarital relationships, she just projected it onto the partner. And the moment after 10 years, the guy finally cheated, and she was like, "Oh, I can't take it. I've had enough. You're a cheat. Once a cheat, always a cheat." And she worked out of the relationship. And she was getting some counseling because of all the stuff that she actually was carrying on. Another example of projection is the dislike of others. You see someone and you automatically presume they don't like you. And it's almost like you are so certain they don't like you. You've read their mind. You've seen the actions. You've looked at the words they've used, and you've automatically assumed they don't like you. I remember in a job, I thought one of my line managers just did not like me. I just thought he didn't like the way I looked. I really didn't have much to do with him. I just presumed he didn't like me. And because I thought he didn't like me, I didn't like him. I had so many reasons to say why I didn't like him, purely because of how I thought he felt towards me. Only for one day for him to come, call me, and say he wanted to let me know how much he appreciated me. I was mortified. I thought the guy absolutely hated me. And because of that, I was cold towards him. So you can project in that way as well. Another way you project in the area of sales is like you as a coach, you're going to meet a client, and your insecurities just kind of tell you that this client is not going to buy from you. This prospective client, they're not going to buy from you. You don't have what it takes. You're projecting your feelings and emotions onto someone without first giving them the opportunity to actually tell you what they think. You'll project, "Oh, you're too expensive." You'll project, "Oh, I'm not good enough." You'll project, "They don't need what you have." So even your approach in your presentation is already defeatist. Rather than look to close the sale, you will go, "Oh, do you want to take some time and think about it?" Because you already concluded in your mind that they're not going to buy from you. So you project that. Another form of example of projection is always assuming that people think the way you think. And that's a common one. My oldest daughter, she is such a beautiful soul. I love her to bits. She's so gentle and kind and loving. But she's also one of these conspiracy theorists. And to her, she sees a conspiracy in everything. The government's up to something. She has a go bag, and we live in the UK. I mean, not much happens, in the UK, but my daughter has like a go bag, and she doesn't understand why I haven't packed a suitcase in case the world comes to an end and I'm ready to go. And she can't fathom that I don't think like her, because everybody should have the same kind of thinking, to think exactly the way she does. That doesn't take away from the fact that she's a lovely lady, but we just don't agree on that. But another example of projection is in idealizing. You idolize people, you expect people to meet certain expectations. You sort of like put them on a pedestal, and you expect them to meet certain standards, to always be right, to always be there. That the moment they disappoint you, goodness, it's almost as if the earth opened up and swallowed you. And it's not that they put themselves on that pedestal, you put them there. So what are the different types of projections? One is called the neurotic projection. Obviously, you can tell I did some research before I came on today. And, you know, somebody that's classed as or described as neurotic is someone whose mental or emotional or physical reaction to something is either drastic or irrational. It's beyond the norm. And this is the most common form of projection. And this is when we attribute feelings and motives and desires and attitudes that are unacceptable to other people. Then you've got complementary projection. This is when you expect everyone to share the same thoughts and opinion as you do, just like my daughter. You expect everyone to have the same. It's almost like in coaching. Oh, goodness, we do this in coaching. We expect everybody to have the same mindset when it comes to coaching, the same approach, the same opinion. And woe betide the person who has a different perspective in coaching. You go, whoa, that's not coaching. Everybody's ready to jump on them. So that's another kind of projection. And finally, you have complementary projection. This is when you assume that others have the same set of skills or capability as you. You expect people to match up to your standard. You expect people to be at the same level as you are. People are different. Our skills are different. Our experiences are different. And if you project that on other people, then you're only going to be disappointed. So how then do you begin to spot projection? One, if you notice you are overly hurt about something, then that's a sign that maybe you've been projecting on other people. And you find yourself not just disappointed, but overly hurt by what somebody has said, and you've sort of like taken it to another degree. That's a sign that maybe you've been projecting. Or maybe you find yourself defensive. It's almost like it's an attack on you as a person, whereas it's just a different point of view, a different perspective. Or if you find yourself that your buttons are so easily pushed, these are all signs that maybe you are projecting. And finally, maybe if you're quick to blame other people, to point the finger at other people, all of these are easy signs to indicate that you could be projected. So we're going to go into our coaching pods in a second. I've got 3 questions. You can use these questions or feel free to use your own question. I kind of like us to be open about this subject. So the question is, when was the last time you knew or felt you projected on others? What exactly did you project? What did that feel like? What was the experience for you? And what you typically, do or find yourself doing to justify or defend that projection? And finally, what's your plan of action, or what will you do if it occurs again?